Have you ever trusted someone only to realize later that they were slowly tearing down your peace of mind? What if the people you thought were allies were actually the ones quietly undermining your confidence and happiness? And most importantly, how can you recognize these people before they rob you of your trust, your energy, and your inner strength? Trust is the very foundation of all human relationships. It is the invisible cement that binds us together, whether in love, friendship, or work. Without trust, even the strongest bond can crumble. Trust is the glue that holds our relationships together. Whether in love, friendship, or at work, trust acts as the invisible thread of human connection, allowing us to open up without fear, to share our deepest emotions with vulnerability, and to rely on others for comfort, security, and strength. Without it, communication falters, connections weaken, and respect becomes a fleeting concept. But here's the sobering reality. Not everyone in your life deserves your trust, and giving it away carelessly can leave you wounded, betrayed, and deeply shaken. Some people uplift us, inspire us, and make us better versions of ourselves. Others, however, drag us down into negativity and doubt in today's fast-paced world, where a smile can mask countless ulterior motives or a handshake can carry unspoken agendas. Figuring out who is truly trustworthy can feel like walking a tightrope over a pit of uncertainty. This is where Stoicism, a timeless philosophy, comes into play. It serves as a guiding compass, helping us navigate tricky relationships while preserving our inner peace. In this exploration, we'll uncover 9 types of people you should never trust. Together, we'll learn how to recognize them, protect ourselves, and handle these personalities in ways that safeguard our mental and emotional well-being. But before we dive in, take a moment to reflect. Trust is a gift, not something to be given carelessly. As Marcus Aurelius once said, if someone speaks ill of others to you, don't think they won't do the same about you. With this in mind, let's begin the journey of identifying and avoiding the untrustworthy and finding the peace and fulfillment that come with investing. In the right relationships, the first type, people who spread secrets picture. This, you're sitting at a cozy cafe, enjoying a casual conversation with a colleague. Everything seems normal until they begin sharing sensitive stories about others. They point out weaknesses, highlight mistakes, and divulge personal information about your co-workers without hesitation. They speak as though you are someone special, someone they trust implicitly. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this really someone I should trust? People who spread secrets and rumors are inherently dangerous. They don't just gossip. They often exaggerate or fabricate details to make their stories more compelling. A minor disagreement or a brief argument can be enough to turn a former best friend into their latest target. And if they can betray others so easily, how can you be sure they won't do the same to you? Stoic philosophy teaches us that trust is a precious gift. It's not something to hand out lightly. People who disregard others' privacy and dignity cannot be trusted. They won't hesitate to use the secrets you've shared against you when it suits their needs. Ask of yourself, am I willing to risk my peace of mind and dignity for this person? Instead of investing your time and energy in such individuals, focus on nurturing relationships with people who respect your value and know how to keep a secret. These are the people who deserve to be the foundation of your peace and success. The second type, the constant critic. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into an important project. Late nights, early mornings, and meticulous attention to detail have gone into your work. Finally, the day arrives to share your efforts. But instead of receiving constructive feedback or recognition, you're met with relentless criticism. This isn't right. Why didn't you think bigger? Suddenly, it feels like all your hard work has been dismissed with a wave of negativity. These critiques don't build you up, they tear you down, leaving your self-esteem in shambles. Constant critics often hide behind the guise of honesty or helpfulness, but their words foster toxic environments. They don't encourage growth. Instead, they instill fear. Fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, and fear of taking risks. Creativity withers in such an environment, replaced by defensiveness and self-doubt. Every action feels like stepping on eggshells. anticipating the next round of disapproval. According to Stoic philosophy, criticism only holds as much power as you allow it. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself appears." This doesn't mean ignoring all criticism, but rather analyzing it. Critically ask yourself, is this feedback meant to help me grow, or is it a reflection of someone else's negativity? If there's value in their words, use it to improve. If not, let it pass. Like a fleeting breeze, picture this scenario: you're part of a recreational soccer team each time your pass misses its mark, a teammate mocks you instead of offering guidance. Over time, your enthusiasm for the game wanes, replaced by dread and self-doubt. This is the destructive impact of non-constructive criticism, but here's the empowering truth. You can shift the narrative, focus on what you can control: your skills, your learning process, and your growth. Ignore the negativity and prioritize your own development. When you refuse to let criticism dictate your self-worth, you'll find freedom, resilience, and the strength to keep growing despite the noise. The third type, the superficial friend. We all know this type of person. They're at every party, always smiling and blending in seamlessly. On the surface, they seem like the perfect companion, but when life throws real challenges your way, they disappear like a shadow in the fog. Superficial friends are there for the good time when you're thriving, successful, or when no extraordinary effort is required from them. But when you need genuine support, they're nowhere to be found. I remember a time when I decided to chase a dream, opening a small cafe on a quaint street corner. At first, everything seemed smooth. I received congratulations and encouragement, especially from a close friend I thought I could rely on. But when the project faced challenges, financial pressures, long hours, and unexpected hurdles, that same friend stopped showing up. Our conversations became rare, and when they happened, they were filled with shallow pleasantries. Stoic philosophy teaches that true relationships are not measured by quantity, but by quality. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously said a few genuine friends are far more valuable than 100 superficial ones. A true friend isn't just present during moments of celebration. They stand by you in the shadows when you need help the most. Imagine going through a tough time. Perhaps you've lost your job or faced a major life setback. You call the friend who always laughed with you at parties, hoping for a few words of encouragement. Instead, you are met with prolonged silence or even avoidance. It's in these moments that you realize their presence was meaningful. It only amplifies your loneliness. Don't let yourself get caught in the trap of superficial relationships. Friends like these don't just waste your time and energy. They pull you away from meaningful connections. Protect your emotional well-being by cherishing those who genuinely stand by you in both the highs and the lows. True relationships won't just elevate the quality of your life. They'll provide the inner peace. You deserve the fourth type of person you should never place your trust in. It's someone who lacks empathy. You've probably been in a situation where you're feeling weighed down by the weight of the world, whether it's a personal issue, a professional challenge, or a tough day, and you reach out to someone you believe you can trust. You pour your heart out, hoping for understanding or comfort. But instead of receiving any empathy or reassurance, you're met with indifference or worse, dismissiveness. You hear something like, "I get it, but let me tell you about my day. It was way worse than yours." Such a response makes you feel invisible, as if your emotions don't even matter. It's like a slap in the face to your vulnerability. Rather than providing support, this person hijacks the moment and shifts the focus entirely onto themselves. The conversation becomes all about their experiences, their pain, their victories, and their struggles, leaving no room for your feelings. This is not just inconsiderate. It's a behavior of someone who has no understanding of or concern for how you're feeling. Empathy is the bedrock of any meaningful relationship. It's not just about understanding the emotional state of others. It's about truly feeling what they're going through and showing that you care. It's a crucial element of deep connections. And without it, interactions are often shallow and one-sided. When you're around someone who lacks empathy, you'll feel it. They don't. Listen, they're waiting for their turn to speak. They don't comfort, they shift the focus back to themselves, and they don't understand. They simply don't try. When you're dealing with such people, their actions feel draining, and they can leave you with a lingering sense of loneliness even when you're in a crowded room. But as difficult as it may seem, there's a silver lining in all of this. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful perspective on how to deal with these emotionally barren interactions. Epictetus, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, taught that while we can't control the actions of others, we do have control over our reactions. In a world full of people who may not reciprocate the empathy we offer, we can still choose to be kind, patient, and understanding. We can show compassion even when it's not returned, because doing so helps us maintain our integrity. However, Stoicism doesn't advocate for mindlessly tolerating harmful behavior. It teaches us to set healthy boundaries for our mental and emotional well-being. Empathy should be met with empathy, but indifference or exploitation should not be allowed to erode our peace. If you find yourself constantly being drained by a person who offers nothing but self-centeredness, it's not a weakness to distance yourself. It's an act of self-preservation. You're not cutting them off to punish them. You're doing it to protect your energy, your emotional health, and your capacity to care for others who genuinely deserve it. Imagine this. You have a colleague who constantly demands your help but is nowhere to be found when you need support. You're left juggling your workload while they carry on. Unaffected, when you ask for assistance, you're met with excuses, empty promises, or worst of all, nothing at all. It's a betrayal of trust that leaves you questioning not just their character, but also your judgment in trusting them. This type of behavior highlights the very absence of empathy we're discussing. It's not just that they fail to help, it's that they're incapable or perhaps unwilling to put themselves in your shoes and feel any sense of solidarity. Their priorities are so self-centered that they don't even notice the strain they put on you in such moments. Stoic philosophy gives us the power to reclaim our emotional peace. When you face people who lack empathy, you have the opportunity to reflect on what really matters rather than sinking into resentment or bitterness. See these moments as reminders to protect your inner world rather than blaming them for their shortcomings. Take this as a chance to reinforce your boundaries and hold true to your values. Set limits on how much you invest emotionally in relationships that are unbalanced and don't feel guilty for doing so. A Stoic approach encourages us not to throw away our empathy entirely, but to recognize that not everyone is worthy of it. Don't waste your emotional energy on relationships that are one-sided and draining. You can enjoy the superficial aspects of someone's company if necessary, share a laugh, discuss casual topics, but when it comes to the deeper layers of human connection, invest only in those who show genuine care, respect, and understanding. If you made it this far, I hope you're starting to realize how essential it is to surround yourself with people who lift you up, not drain you. Recognizing who deserves your trust is just as important as knowing who doesn't. And when you understand this, you free yourself from the emotional weight of toxic relationships, giving more room for those who truly value you for who you are. Keep this in mind. As you move forward in your journey, invest your trust, your love, and your empathy wisely, because only those who truly appreciate it are deserving of it. If you've watched this video up until this point, share your thoughts with me in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation, and together we'll move on to the next powerful lesson. The fifth type of person you should never trust is the provocateur. Have you ever met someone who seems to live just to rattle you, to disrupt your peace? That's the provocateur in our lives. They're not here to engage in sincere conversations or build connections. They exist to say, oh, discomfort, a sarcastic comment, at the exact moment you think things are calm. A piercing glance that chips away at your confidence. They always know how to push you to the edge of your patience. Imagine attending a yoga class meant for relaxation and mindfulness, but every time you try to focus on your breath, there's someone in the corner making unnecessary remarks about your posture or letting out a mocking chuckle that throws you off. At first, you brush it off, But eventually you realize each session has become a battle between holding on to your inner calm and resisting their provocations. Stoic philosophy teaches us an invaluable lesson when dealing with such people. True power lies in our ability to control our minds, not in attempting to change the actions of others. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength rather than reacting to provocation." Stoicism encourages you to focus on your perception. Ask yourself, why does this person's behavior affect me? What inside me allows their actions to control my emotions? Once you shift your perspective from feeling threatened to recognizing their provocations as mere tests, you reclaim your power in a tense workplace meeting. When a colleague constantly interrupts you, consider reframing the situation. Instead of feeling sidelined, see it as an opportunity to practice patience and composure by not reacting in the way they expect you. Not only maintain your peace, but also strip away their influence over you. Learning to deal with a provocateur isn't just about managing your emotions, it's about growth and self-mastery. Remember, when you master your mind, no one else can control you. That's the ultimate gift of Stoic philosophy. True freedom from within. The sixth type of person you should never trust is the complainer in life. You've likely encountered someone who always seems trapped in an endless loop of problems and pain. They constantly talk about their struggles and sorrows, often exaggerating them to draw attention. The unfortunate truth is that no matter how much you try to help or empathize, they're not genuinely seeking solutions. Instead, they crave someone to listen and counsel them, but they never actually change. Imagine you have a friend who constantly shares their failures at work. The first time you listen attentively and offer sincere advice. The second time you become concerned and invest your time in providing additional support. But by the 10th time, it dawns on you that they're not looking for answers. They're looking for attention. You find yourself caught in a spiral of sad stories, yet all your efforts feel like drops in a desert, futile and draining according to Stoic philosophy. Epicurus once taught, do not worry about things outside your control. This doesn't mean you ignore your friend, but it does mean recognizing your limits. Empathy is essential, but you can't let your emotions and mental health be overwhelmed by issues you cannot resolve. Instead of feeling responsible for fixing their life, support them with clarity. Listen empathetically, but don't let their problems become your burden. If you notice these conversations depleting your energy, it might be time to establish boundaries. This not only helps protect your peace, but also teaches them that real change must come from within. Remember, helping others doesn't mean sacrificing your mental well-being by practicing empathy without letting it turn into dependency. You can maintain balance in your life. Most importantly, you'll learn how to preserve your inner peace, even when faced with those who dwell in negativity. The next type of person you should not trust is the two-faced person. One of the most frustrating types of people to encounter in life is the two-faced individual. They may smile and engage in friendly conversations, with you creating an illusion of trust and camaraderie, yet as soon as your back is turned, they are ready to speak ill of you, betraying the very trust you thought you shared. Imagine this familiar scenario. There's someone in your social circle who always seems cheerful, approachable, and supportive. You consider them a reliable ally, but then you discover they've been spreading false rub about you, tarnishing your reputation at a gathering or during an important event. The feeling of betrayal and disappointment is hard to shake. How could someone be so duplicitous? Stoic philosophy teaches us that people like this are not worth your time or energy. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, advised it is better to be alone than to be in bad company relationships. With two-faced individuals create conflict, distrust, and insecurity. Exactly the opposite of what we strive for in seeking inner peace. The key is to recognize the true nature of such people as early as possible. Do not let their deceitful actions shake your dignity or integrity when confronted with betrayal. From a two-faced person, remain composed. Remember, reacting with anger or strong emotions only plays into their manipulative hands. Instead, styes with these insincere connections. Focus your energy and trust on those who are genuine and respectful. Building relationships based on honesty and mutual support not only preserves your inner peace, but also enhances the quality and stability of your social interactions. Keep in mind that while their actions may hurt you, you hold the power over how you respond. By upholding your values and ethical standards, you protect your self-respect and maintain dignity in the eyes of those who truly matter. Ultimately, life will reward you with relationships that are far more authentic and deserving. The eighth type of person who can't take no for an answer is someone who simply cannot accept the word no. These are the kinds of people who, when their requests are denied, resort to all sorts of tactics to pressure you into compliance. At first, they may appear friendly and approachable, but don't be fooled. The moment you decline, their attitude can change, turning cold, accusatory, or worse, making you feel as though you're the selfish one. Imagine having a friend who frequently asks for your help. One day you say no because you're overwhelmed with work and family commitments. Instead of understanding, they act as if you've committed some grave injustice. Statements like, "I didn't think you were that kind of person," or "I would never do that to you," might slip out. Not to empathize, but to guilt trip you. You are left feeling both pressured and doubting your own worth. People who can't take no often view relationships as one-way streets. They care about you only as long as you're useful to them. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that no one has the right to infringe upon your freedom or values. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that you are responsible for your own emotions and decisions, not those of others. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not pressure or manipulation. What's worse, this type of person may escalate their response when denied. They may not just react with anger, but could weaponize your past vulnerabilities against you. For instance, if you once confided in them about a personal failure, they might now bring it up to make you feel weak, all because you didn't give them what they wanted. In situations like this, it's essential to stand firm and establish boundaries. Don't let them invade your autonomy or make you feel responsible for their disappointment. Seneca wisely advised that it's better to distance yourself from disrespectful people than to maintain toxic relationships. This doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you prioritize your self-respect and emotional well-being. Remember, you have the right to say no without explanation or guilt. Each time you decline an unreasonable request, you not only protect yourself, but also foster an environment where relationships are grounded in mutual respect rather than coercion. The last type of person we will look at in this video is the psychological manipulator. This is the kind of person you might not recognize immediately because they excel at creating a perfect image of care and understanding. They listen to you, agree with you, and make you feel like you're confiding in a true kindred spirit. But behind the smiles and comforting words lies a plan to exploit your emotions, your information, and your trust for their own benefit. Imagine you have a new neighbor who always shows up at the right moment when you're in trouble. One day you cut your hand while cooking, and they suddenly appear with a first aid kit and reassuring advice. You think, what a great person. But after a few similar incidents, you notice that every time they help, they ask things like, "Have you ever considered selling your house?" or "Would you mind if I hosted a party in your yard?" Gradually, you realize their kindness always comes with strings attached. Psychological manipulators are strategic. They don't just learn about you. They use what you share to gain an advantage. They might use your secrets to win an argument or make you feel obligated to help them. Their relationships aren't built on genuine connection, but on control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Observe their actions, not just their words." This is a crucial principle when dealing with someone who seems less than sincere. Pay attention to how they act in their relationships with others. Do they respect boundaries? Are they consistent how they treat you and others? Stoic philosophy teaches us to set clear boundaries to protect ourselves from such people. If you recognize someone using your emotions or information to manipulate you, pause and reassess the relationship. Don't let them control you. Protect your emotional well-being and reserve your trust for those who have proven they deserve it. Finally, remember that not everyone deserves your trust. Manipulators can create waves in your life, but you have the power to maintain your inner peace by keeping your distance. Investing in authentic relationships will bring you the harmony and mutual respect you truly deserve. And there you have it. We've just explored 9 types of people you should be cautious about or completely steer clear of. Perhaps you recognized a few familiar faces in this list. Don't worry. We've all misplaced our trust at some point. What truly matters is learning from those experiences and growing stronger. Remember, life isn't about the quantity of relationships you have, but the quality of the people you choose to. Keeping your circle, as Seneca wisely said, better to be alone than in bad company. So, choose wisely and protect your inner peace. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it, and leave a comment below. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Stoic Life Journal. If you found value in our video, please click on one of the suggested videos on the screen to continue exploring how Stoicism can transform your daily life and motivate your mind. We appreciate you being a part of our thoughtful community. Until next time. Remember, trust is earned, not given. Stay vigilant, stay wise,